Hello Steve. Hello Jill. It's time to game classy.
There's a Golden Girls museum.
Is there?
Yeah.
Well,
Or no, not a museum, an art installation.
oh yeah. Well, they have those all the time in like L.A. like pop art installations.
It's all Golden Girls stuff.
I'm surprised at the amount of women over the age of 30 who are obsessed with Golden Girls.
Well, thank you for being a friend.
I mean, I'm not talking like older, like in their 50s at this point. I'm talking like our age, like between 30 and 40,
Yeah,
who are
don't-
obsessed.
Made that popular.
Yeah.
When I also say,
Because I watched the shit out of Golden Girls. I just actually just watched
I-
it this morning.
I watched Golden Girls.
I watched Golden Girls too. It's where I learned about
Yeah.
sex for the first time.
I like Golden Girls.
Through
Man Hungry Mona.
No, that's not. That's Who's the Boss.
Ah, fuck.
You're thinking Blanche.
Blanche.
Hey, Blanche, who are you going to sleep with tonight? Everybody.
That's right. Mona.
Angela. All right, so I'm sorry to start off this cast with on a sad note, but I told Steve that someone very famous had just died. Which is, well, I shouldn't say just died, but we just found out about it this morning. One of Steve's favorite actors, Bill Paxton, has passed away.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, man, that sucks.
Hudson, right? Hudson from Aliens.
Game over, man.
Game over.
Oh, was
Why
he
don't we
sick?
just put her in charge?
He wasn't super old. Was he sick?
He was 61. I don't know, but I'm sure he did a lot of cocaine.
That's
There's
true.
always when someone dies before like the age of 70 in Hollywood, I assume it was because of cocaine.
Also, he was big in movies in the 80s, so
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite character actors of all time, if I had to run through a list of like top 5 performances, Coconut Pete in Club Dread. Love that movie. son of a bitch. Steve, can you guess the secret ingredient in Coconut Pete's paella?
No.
Coconut Pete's paella.
Is it coconut?
son of a bitch. I love that movie. Hudson, of course, from Aliens. Chet from Weird Science. And
and Thug number 1 from Terminator.
yes, Bill Paxton goes down in history as being one of the few people who have been killed by an alien, a Terminator, and a what other one am I thinking of? God damn it! An alien, a Terminator, and a Predator. He was killed by a Predator as well. And also, if I had the final one was the car salesman. I can't remember his name. I think it was Harry. No, not Harry. From True Lies, where he
That's right.
delivers the immortal line, "Hey man, it's the vet gets some wet."
And he was also in Big Love, of
Big
course.
Love, yeah. My wife,
which I hadn't seen.
My wife loved Big Love. And Twister, where he survives a
That's right,
tornado
Twister.
by belting himself to a pipe in the ground.
Twister. That movie's fucking
Bill,
awful.
Bill Paxton, great actor. Could always rely on a good Bill Paxton performance. It's a sad It's a sad day, Steve. It's a sad day. If it wasn't for the Oscars tonight, I'd totally put on Club Dread. But I'm going to be watching the Oscars regardless.
Very good.
Yeah. So did you finally see John Wick 2?
I did.
What'd you think?
It was great. I
Yeah.
loved it. I want to see John Wick 3,
Even-
4, 5, 6. I want to see all the John Wicks.
Even though it suffered from the great sequel-itis of, hey, it's the second movie, let's go to Europe.
Still, the movie's fucking awesome. Like, it's that John Wick, because of the way that movie is, because of what that movie is, it's going to be nearly impossible for them to make a bad one. I mean, I said nearly because
Yeah.
it's definitely possible, but the movie it needs to hit just slow beats and lots of great action.
Well,
and holy shit, like they did a really, really good job of upping the ante from the first one.
Yeah.
There were some amazing scenes. The fight choreography was fucking great.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
I mean, that's my like big thing I loved about John Wick 2. I love the fight choreography, some of the fighting and some of the gunplay, some of the best things I've ever seen in my life. It's on par with the first John Wick.
Oh, yeah.
It took it to a little bit more of the extreme in this one, which I kind of liked. But the plot was god awful, man. I know Steve gives me a shrug on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the first, like the plot of the first film was he's going to get vengeance because they killed his dog.
Yeah, but it's a visceral revenge flick. It's the same thing as Death Wish or Punisher or something like that. You can appreciate this. This one was like a little bit. They tried to get a little deeper into the mythology of the John Wick-verse. John Wikipedia.
If there's a John Wick wiki out there, it better be the John Wikipedia. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked some of it. Like, I liked the parts where they would go and be like, hey, let's I want to go see the sommelier, and then you take him in there, and it's the Tick showing him all of the.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
he's like,
all the guns.
Perhaps you'd enjoy this.
Yeah, that was fun. I like the Taylor stuff. I like that part, but where you're getting a little bit more into the whole, like, I can't even explain it, but like the
shadow world,
the shadow world, the customs and everything like that. I'm kind of like, oh, this is just highfalutin dumbness.
Yeah, but. I mean, that's all of that is just window dressing for sweet fucking action scenes.
Well, yeah, and that's like I try not to make John Wick out to be more than anything other than like one of the best action flicks out there
ever. Period. Yeah. I could after like when I got out of the theater, I was like, I want to fucking watch it again. Like, I want to watch that again. Holy shit! I want to watch the first one and the second one back to back in theater right now.
I mean, I can't say of all time, but it's definitely up there.
It's like I'm hard pressed to not put it in top 5 action movies all time.
I'd have to really do some serious consideration. It would definitely. I think at least the first one for sure would be in the top 10. But I'd have to like really examine that. I don't want. That's a bold statement for me to make.
Yeah, I mean, action movies are pretty. Really good action movies I would say, are uncommon enough that having a top 5 is pretty easy.
I don't know. There's a lot of great ones from the 80s and 90s. I mean,
Commando is a fucking amazing film. Let off some steam, Bennett. But also, John Wick exists in a different world than Commando, even though both are action films.
Yeah. I mean, and it's hard because like a lot of the action that I like also would also be considered science fiction or fantasy, and then but in the 90s you also have a lot of like the classic Bruckheimer movies or Face Off. Or
that's an action movie. That's me. Like when I say action genre, I'm talking movies like Face Off, Commando,
Broken Arrow,
Face
Off.
Wait,
I said Face Off.
Yeah,
the Rock.
The Rock. Welcome to the Rock.
Con Air.
Yep, Con Air. Terminal Velocity.
Okay, that movie's terrible.
Passenger 51.
57.
57, the one with Wesley Snipes.
Yes, always bet on black.
And like that. That's what I consider action movies because
Yeah.
they're always like regular
Air
dude.
Force One.
Right. Regular dude versus like criminals or terrorists or
Not always just regular dude.
military.
Sometimes he's the best of the best.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he's a human.
Yes,
he's a human being.
yeah.
He's not a robot.
He's not a. Well, I mean, like, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
That's my thing. So like
Total Recall, I would have put on
Total
there.
Recall, I'd put in sci-fi.
I mean,
Because there's like aliens. There's a girl with 3 boobies.
She's a mutant. She's not an alien.
She's
Steve.
got 3 boobies.
I agree, but I disagree. I still consider that movie more of an action.
I got
than
5 kids to feed.
I can't defeat.
Oh man, he got screwed.
Go ahead and give the Martians air.
Give those people air. Fucking love Schwarzenegger.
Any Schwarzenegger movie made in between like Conan the Barbarian and Eraser, I'd probably put.
Did you see Maggie?
No, but a lot of people like it.
I was very surprised by it. I was like, oh, this movie's actually just good.
Yeah.
It was weird because it wasn't good in like a Schwarzenegger way. It was just kind of a good movie. I was like, all right.
God, I want so bad for Conan the Conqueror to come out. It's the Schwarzenegger movie.
It's in production, isn't it?
They keep on talking about it. I don't think it's actually in production. I think it's in like pre-production right now. They're trying to get backers or whatever. But just to see like old ass Schwarzenegger like as Conan one more time.
King Conan? Yeah.
It's Conan the Conqueror is what they're calling it. But I would sell lots of them.
Perfect.
It'd be perfect. Did you hear about the new Dune they're doing?
Dune?
Yeah, they're redoing Dune.
Why?
Probably because the David Lynch version.
The David Lynch film is perfection.
No, Steve.
Fucking floating ass giant Harkonnen with his fucking swords and fucking Sting and that weird diaper thing. That movie's fucking perfect. There's nothing that needs to be done.
Fear is the mind killer. Fear is a little bit.
And it's got Michael McLaughlin. Kyle MacLachlan.
Kyle MacLachlan.
I was thinking of Michael McDonald and Kyle MacLachlan. And, no stopping us now.
Fear is a little death that kills us all.
I love that movie. It's so fucking weird.
It's not that great of a movie, but they're redoing it, and the guy who's directing it, Denis Villeneuve, is the guy who directed Arrival, which I just watched.
Everyone jizzed about that movie. Was it?
It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's one of those movies. It's slow science fiction. You know, you have like fast science fiction like
Total Recall.
Total Recall, where it's like, get your ass to Mars. And then he's at Mars and they're shooting people and there's taxi cabs. There's a Johnny Cab and then he pulls the thing out of his nose.
Thanks for taking Johnny Cab.
And then you have the slow science fiction. I'm talking like Star Trek 1 slow, where it's just like, okay, but it's like one of the most beautiful movies I've seen.
Man, I watched Star Trek 1 recently, and like they were way too drunk on the fact that it was a film.
I think what they were trying to do is they were trying to find a balance between 2001: A Space Odyssey and Star Wars, where it was like, okay, so people are going to be in this to see the Star Wars. So we're going to start off kind of fast-paced like Star Wars, but then the drugs will kick in and they'll take the 20-minute trip through V'ger and enjoy the hell out of that trip.
Yeah,
so.
I liked that. That is a movie that needs to be edited heavily.
Yeah, I kind of like it the way it is. I mean, it's not perfect in any way, shape, or form, but it's for what it is. I enjoy it because I also like my science fiction needs to either be Total Recall or Star Trek 1. It needs to be either super fast-paced or it needs to be slow and navel-gazing.
Yeah.
The Arrival is in that slow navel-gazing, but it's so pretty. I mean, like, the first 3 shots of the movie are just like, oh, Jesus Christ. This is too pretty for... Nothing should be this pretty. this pretty shot. That's why I'm saying, like, I was telling Kevin on Comic Book Logic that I know it's not going to win Best Director, but I think Denis Villeneuve should win Best Director because this movie is gorgeous. Yeah, not Best Picture. It's not Best Picture quality, but it's definitely Best Director. So that this guy can do Dune in that same kind of like navel gazing, I'm going to take drugs and watch this movie sort of way. I will enjoy the hell out of it.
All right.
I want to.
As long as he's got Sting in a diaper, I mean,
I don't think they'll have Sting in a diaper.
Fuck.
What's his name?
Boycott.
Fade Routha. That's what his name is. Right? That's Fade Routha.
Pretty sure, but I mean, I always just like called him Sting
in a diaper.
So that character's now just Sting.
Yeah. It's got what's his name? Wormtongue's in it too. He plays the Mentat. I can't think of his name.
That guy is in a fuck ton of movies.
He's also in that weird episode of the X-Files where he like channels Scully's dead dad.
Yep, and he's the serial killer in Star Trek Voyager.
He is the serial killer. And
He was a cool character.
He was also a serial killer on Babylon 5, so...
Awesome. I wonder if it was the same guy. Dun, dun, dun. Cross-dimensional character.
Yeah, except for the fact that Voyager's terrible. So.
I think that was one of the cooler characters. I like that.
Well, yeah, that just goes to show you how bad Star Trek Voyager is.
I gotta disagree, bro. That was good stuff.
You like Tuvix.
I like Tuvix. Tuvix is fucking awesome. Tuvix is a character that I wanted more episodes out of.
So did everybody, and everyone hated the fact that Janeway made the decision to kill off Tuvix to bring back Tuvok and Neelix.
I think that was okay, but it needed to have been like that arc could have been one of the best in Star Trek. But it was one of the things that it needed a multi-parts. It needed like 3 parts or something.
No, it needed to be like a season so that at the end of the
season would be awesome.
So at the end of the season, when they have to make that decision. Or if that decision comes down to it, that then it becomes like this huge what's the word I'm looking for?
Morality thing.
A moral choice. Then that all of a sudden becomes like, oh crap, Janeway's awful. But they do it in an episode, and they're like, everything's back to normal.
It kind of removed the impact. It was a victim of the only Star Trek that was really 100% like. Well, not 100%, but the closest to 100%, like, fuck you to, like, not caring about the fact that this is a syndicated series was really DS9.
Oh, yeah.
It's the only one where it's
and
like...
only, like, the last 3 seasons.
Right.
So.
And that's why I said not 100%, but, like, it's the only one where you could watch some episodes, and if you weren't watching all of them, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on? But, like, Next Generation, you watch an episode of Next Generation, does not matter where it is. It's it's completely self-contained.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm hoping that Discovery... because of the way Discovery's being made, is just a complete departure from that entirely. It better be.
I've heard Discovery has kind of imploded on itself.
No.
Yeah. So.
And rip Hellboy 3.
Oh, yeah, that was never going to happen.
Who fucking knows, dude?
Yeah, I mean...
You never know. Shit's weird, man.
Guillermo del Toro's a weird dude.
Guillermo del Toro's the best. I want to rub his chin.
All right, so let's talk about some gaming stuff. All right, first off, Steve and I have discovered a new category on eBay. I don't know why this makes me so mad that it does.
It makes me laugh.
We have often had the complaint that people on eBay use the term pro-painted, and they use that term loosely. That is the loosest term that you could possibly throw around on on the eBays, and the models are never pro-painted. I mean, anyone could technically say pro-painted. If you've sold one figure that has been painted, you can call yourself a professional.
Yes, if you've ever received money in exchange for painting a figure,
yes,
congratulations, that makes you a professional.
Yes. And if you could see on there's some of the worst figures ever made.
It's like a gag.
It truly is. It's become a parody unto itself. Recently, I have discovered a new category that people have been using. I don't know if it's people in general or just this one guy, but the term is museum quality.
Top museum quality.
Top museum quality. I hope that from now on, everyone uses the term museum quality.
Yeah, I'm pro-painted is dead. Long live museum quality.
It's museum quality. And what's bad...
Wow, this is museum quality.
And the thing that makes me laugh is that anybody who's ever gone to a museum that's had a miniature diorama or anything like a history museum or anything like that, those figures are always the worst painted things in the world.
Yeah, they're not there to look like a nice painted figure. They're there to be a diorama.
A diorama.
They're there to show you how corn is harvested.
Oh, it says here that they called it maize.
Well, look at this. It gets shucked by this machine. How cool. Hey, if you push this button, the corn moves.
Like, I go to Cantini, which is I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast before. I probably have. But it's a park that was the owner of... It used to be a big, property that this rich guy, McCormick, used to own out kind of close to where we're at. And his son served in World War I, and after McCormick died, he turned the entire place into kind of just a big open free park for everyone. And they have a big World War I, World War II history museum on the grounds. It's very nice, and they have tanks out there that you can climb around, let the kids climb around. But inside they have a bunch of models that are painted of, Abrams tanks and, 135th kits. And I'm like, these are all painted like shit. I could do better than this.
You should have got hired by a museum. You missed your calling to paint shitty tanks for museums.
No. If I ever got a job at a museum, you know what job I'd honestly want?
Curating the mummy exhibit, because you could fuck in there, or you could jerk off in all the corners of the pyramid and not likely get caught.
All the corners of the... I could probably do that now.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but this time you're getting paid.
Oh, that's true.
See?
No, I want to be one of those guys that sits up in the windowed exhibit where the guys are just cleaning off the dinosaur bones with the Dremel. That would be my dream job. Just sitting there with the Dremel going,
I'm polishing this bone.
just chipping off the little bit of stone and dirt. Oh God. Talk about just turning your mind off and not just listening to everybody's working for the weekend. Got a piece of my heart.
Yeah, but you know what that means?
What?
You're the first dead if there's any sort of sci-fi or horror elements in the museum.
That's true.
Because
I've seen Mimic, I know that.
Right, you'll be listening to the music and something horrible will be happening behind you, and you'll be like, "Want a piece of my heart?" You'll turn around and there'll be a thing, and then it'll burst into your chest and pull your heart out.
No, it'll be a mummy, and I'll be like, "Ah, a mummy!" And then I'll touch it and it'll dissolve because it's a mummy. Oh, that was scary for a second.
It's like jerky. You ate Mobutu. I was saving that mummy. I was going to eat that mummy.
It's teriyaki. Oh man. Yeah. But yeah, the idea of someone claiming to have museum quality figures is just it goes beyond the levels of pretentiousness that anybody could possibly and there are a lot of pretentious people in the gaming world. I'm talking in RPGs, you have the guys who are like, I've designed this campaign that's lasted for 40 years. It's in depth and has its own language.
It's my own universe. I've invented my own language and my and then I just hear and their mouths moving, and it's like my eyes roll back in my head, and then suddenly I fucking start mutating like the end of Akira, and I'm like,
I'm like, Steve, Joe.
I've seen her. Yep. And then there's fucking space lasers.
Space lasers, and I'm riding around Neo Tokyo for some odd reason.
On that fucking sick ass motorcycle.
How does it even work?
It's fucking awesome. So dude made one.
I know.
He just fucking straight up made an exact replica.
I always like it when they make the exact replicas of like the Akira motorcycle or the Tron cycle, and they just don't work because they're not They're not designed to really work.
I don't know, man. It was the exact same design, and it fucking ran.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love that Pat B's so in love with Tron Legacy.
I love the Tron cycles. There was one for sale.
Not just the Tron cycles, but Tron Legacy in and of itself. And I'm like,
oh, I can't wait for the next one.
They're not coming out with the next one.
Are they fucking better?
They're not, because it wasn't that good of a movie.
But it made plenty of money.
It didn't really do that well.
I loved that movie.
Tron Legacy was an excellent soundtrack. How about that?
The soundtrack was fucking great.
Yeah,
That's
about all
stuff.
it really had.
I mean, the first Tron isn't like an amazing film.
No, it's like
I
the
put
black hole.
I put Legacy on the same level as the original Tron. Like, they're both about as good as one another, and they both do the same thing. Tron is a film that has a cool soundtrack. Like, the first one had a really cool, like, pop synth, very futuristic soundtrack, cool, and did really great stuff on film. Like, the effects are super cool, and it was totally new. And Legacy did that too. Legacy, as far as I know, was the first movie that had an entirely photorealistic CG person in it.
But was it museum quality?
I would say he was definitely Uncanny Valley quality. But like Clue was incredible looking, and then when you think of that, and then you see Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One, you're like, oh.
If it was that good, Steve, then how come they didn't make a miniatures game of it?
That doesn't count for anything. There's fucking miniatures games.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, they make miniature games out of anything.
They only make miniatures games out of the worst properties. like Harry Potter is the dumbest idea ever to make a miniatures game out of. Like, what are you fucking talking about?
It's Night Models though. They're just building a game around the fact that they have these models.
They have the license.
Yeah.
We've got the license. Do it.
Yeah, there's no Night Model, and Night Models makes the worst rule sets ever. Though for some godforsaken reason, a lot more people are playing that Batman game than should play that game. I
would just use Lego Batman.
Yeah, well, that's what I would do too. Or I would use Hero Clicks because it's way cheaper.
Oh man, you should actually just paint up a Lego Batman, but do line highlights and shit on him. Yeah, and then put him on a super realistic base, like diorama base.
Diorama base. It would have to be Lego diorama base.
I am the bit.
Every year,
we were the amazing quartet of Paul Stanley, Peter Criss, Gene Simmons, and the Bat. My tongue keeps getting caught in the mouth hole. It's maddening.
It's maddening. That's what. I saw a T-shirt of Hank with the Batman mascot, and underneath it said, "It's maddening," but with it's maddening.
That's awesome.
And I can't remember where I saw that from. I really
that's a good
would
shirt.
Like that shirt. But no one, Venture Brothers doesn't come out enough for.
Well, yeah, it's because those two guys refuse to let anyone do anything other than themselves.
Yeah, which is good because that's what keeps the quality up.
Yeah, just the frequency is low.
Just incredibly low. Okay, so we talked about museum quality.
Top museum quality.
I like how you say it like Porkins in Indiana Jones.
Top museum. Top men.
Top men. Oh, I love that movie. All right, so
another great soundtrack.
What? Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. It's John Williams. The man has won more Oscars than Meryl Streep.
And he's really only used the same song repeatedly. And now I'll do it in G. Here's another Oscar, sir. Excellent. Put it on my shelf with the other ones.
I don't think he's nominated this year, though. He might be. I don't know.
I don't know any new movies that came out that John Williams did the soundtrack for.
The Force Awakens.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, Force Awakens was last year or
No,
2 years ago, wasn't it?
I think it's technically eligible this year.
Okay, because I know he did not do it for Rogue One.
No, he did not. That was
Okay.
Giacchino, who usually does all of the J.J. Abrams stuff, and he didn't do it for Force Awakens, and J.J. Abrams didn't do Rogue One, so.
Oh, I really like the soundtrack for Hateful Eight.
Yeah, that was Morricone.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a very good one, but I liked it because it actually accomplished what Tarantino was supposed to do, why a lot of people didn't like Hateful Eight, because they're like, this isn't a cowboy movie. I'm like, no,
Dude, Hateful Eight was fucking great.
I
loved that movie.
It's a Miss Marple's Hercule Poirot closed door mystery, locked room mystery. That's what that is with cowboys.
With cowboys.
Yeah,
I fucking loved that movie. I was very surprised by how much I enjoyed that film. Tarantino is like, I think he's hit a stride that I've really liked, because I obviously like Pulp Fiction movies good. Reservoir Dogs is good, obviously, but like I've never been like a huge Tarantino fan. I thought his movies are like go down in quality from Pulp Fiction. Like each movie he makes after that has gone down in quality, but from Django. Like Django was a fucking. I was like, holy shit! Wow, this movie's great. And then this movie, Hateful Eight, super good too.
You didn't like Kill Bill?
I liked Kill Bill 1.
Oh, you didn't like the second one?
Kill Bill 2 was really bad.
I like 2 better than 1 in some instances.
Yeah, I don't know. I did not like.
And Inglourious Bastards I thought was fantastic.
Oh yeah, I like Inglourious Bastards as well. I forgot about that one. I always forget that Quentin Tarantino directed that movie.
All right, so next up on our
100 Nazi scalps.
Nazis. Let's talk a little bit about what happened with Robotech Tactics.
I thought you were going to talk about Chibis.
Oh, we're going to get to that. That's coming up, because I wanted to get to we're going to talk about Adepticon in a little bit. But Robotech Tactics. Did you see about this?
Yeah, so the TLDR is the dude went on to the Kickstarter to do an update and got trolled super hard and then tried to kill himself.
Is that really what happened?
Yeah, that's
like, how did he get trolled? Like,
I guess the pissed off people who don't have their shit.
Oh, wow.
all went ham on him.
That's not really getting trolled. That's just getting what you deserve because you have not given it.
Well, from what I understand, the guy who did the update has nothing to do with any of the. Like,
okay.
He was just like, he was collateral damage.
Oh, that's not fun then.
Yeah, like he was a designer.
Oh.
So not Kevin Sambedia or like a representative of Palladium Games in that manner. He's the dude who
Not Kevin
designed.
Sambedia or a representative of Kevin Sambedia.
Yeah, he's the guy who designed the rules, and he was talking
okay.
about like another rule set, and they just all fucking went ham on him.
Well, I mean, shit, that's been nasty with Kickstarter's starting to get that again. I mean, we kind of gotten away from the really bad Kickstarter returns because we've done much better. Like, I think people have gotten better with it in terms of, hey, we've given you all of, this is what we say we're going to do by this time. We're going to deliver at about this date. And usually there's like a 4 to 5 month plus or minus. I mean, very rarely has it gone longer than that.
I mean, a lot of times you're just a victim of the slow boat from China.
Yeah, which is understandable. But Robotech Tactics kind of screwed
It's been
themselves.
like 2 years for some of the updates that they needed, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think the what do you think would be the last like really bad one? Dust, the Dust one.
Maybe the Dust one. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to keep track of the Kickstarter disasters.
There's so many.
Yeah, there really
There's
are.
so many Kickstarter disasters. The All Quiet on the Martian Front.
Well, that shipped. People got their stuff.
Yeah, it just destroyed the company.
Yeah, it cost more than they made.
Yes. The Dust Tactics one was the one that was pretty nasty.
Yeah.
But poor Paulo Parente.
Paulo Puente's Dust.
He just screwed himself. That's pretty much what
Well,
it
wasn't
is.
that one because of like him and like Gale Force 9 had a falling out or something? Or
He has a falling out with everyone. Fantasy Flight, Gale Force 9, Battlefront. They all just they keep getting screwed out. He keeps whatever. But that's his own damn fault for designing a miniatures game around 1/35th scale miniatures. No one wants to play with 1/35th scale miniatures. If you're gonna build a model, you're gonna build it 1/35th. You're gonna buy your little dragon kit, and you're like, I'm gonna build this Abrams tank. And then you put it together, and you put all the little pieces on there, and you build the engine inside, and you're like, it's done! And then you put it on the shelf. And you never touch it again. Occasionally, you get your spray can out, and you dust it. That's about it. And you're like, look at this model I made! And everyone's like, Yay!
Hey, a tank.
Hey, a tank. And you put it on one of those modeling forums, and then you see someone whose tank is way better than your tank, and you're like, oh.
Or you're just like, yeah, nice tank.
Nice tank. Is that a dragon kit? No, it's a Talieri. Yay!
Mine's Tamiya.
Mine's Tamiya. Yeah, that's the other one. Tamiya. That's my stepfather. He does that. He's got all that. It's like, at least I could play with my figures. I don't, but I could.
But think of what I could do with them.
Exactly. Yeah, as I say, it's his own damn fault. But poor guy. It's in it all over Robotech.
Yeah, man. What a shoddy excuse to try and kill yourself.
Oh, Robotech is they screwed that game up.
That's not worth it.
Yeah, I mean it's a cool concept. The miniatures are actually kind of nice, but
Except they're in 72 pieces.
I would never put that together myself. Like, why did they even think that was a good idea?
Because it's Palladium, dude. They're like, Palladium is the company of questionable decisions that has somehow made it out of the 80s.
I wish that was their tagline on all of their books.
Yeah, we are the company of questionable decisions that has somehow made it out of the 80s. Because Rifts is really cool. Like as a universe, Rifts is fucking sweet. Like one of the best campaign settings for a game ever. The actual game mechanics wise, fucking unplayable.
Well, yeah, it's garbage.
It's like the worst. But you don't understand. It's not even garbage. It's actually just unplayable nonsense. Like you can go back and play some old 80s games and be like, okay, this game's a little crusty, or like this game's not that great. But you can play those games.
Yeah, it's
Rifts is so convoluted and so full of random bullshit. You're just like, what the fuck is happening?
I don't know.
I love Rifts though. Like the universe is so fucking cool.
It's all right. There's people out there who do that same defense for like BattleTech. And you're like,
well, BattleTech has a fully functional, playable rule set. That's the thing. Like Rift's rule set is actually unplayable because like there's so many rules.
I don't know if BattleTech is really playable at this point. The amount of stuff you need to play BattleTech, I don't know if you could play it.
Sure, you could. BattleTech is a long list of things, but everything's self-contained. So like you have your one mech that you've custom built, and there's a very long list of things you can do. But it's functional.
Okay.
Rifts has a very long list of things you can do, and you have to be like, but wait, what does this do? And this rule is really close to this one, but it says that you have to do it this way. This one doesn't even have resolution.
I mean, like every once in a while, I'll go on like a gaming board, and it says like download all the BattleTech rules, and I look at it, and I'm like, this file is 16 gig. There's no way a game could have this much rules.
That's because BattleTech went all in on the like every little bit of your mech can be customized, and that's what creates a ridiculous series of rules.
Ooh, look at this rule book, the left arm guide.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, like
Did you go with hydraulic or pneumatic?
Oh man, erasing everything.
Gotta start over.
BattleTech RPG remains the only one I believe where your character can die before beginning the game because you roll for your background, and I guess one of them is you die as a kid. You have to start over and make a new character.
It's like, oh great, my mech pilot's a paraplegic.
That can also happen.
Yeah. Well, let's get him a cart. Oh man, yeah, it's pretty on the ridiculous side. The other news that Steve alluded to. Well, hold on a second.
So, there's nothing bad about it except for the way the tank looks. It makes the tank very cloudy and milky,
Yeah.
but like our chemical levels are all perfect, and it was really dirty, so we were doing 30% changes, like bigger changes, and I read that if your tank is in the middle of a bacterial bloom and you do big water changes, you basically reset the bloom every
Oh.
time. So you just kind of have to suck it up, let your tank look like shit, and do smaller water changes just once a week, and just wait for it to clear up. As long as your tank levels are okay. So there you
Okay.
go.
There
This
you go.
this has been Steve's Fish Corner.
Steve's Fish Corner.
Blub 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 blub.
All right. So what we were alluding to earlier is there was some big changes that happened to the Crystal Brush this year. Adepticon is about a month away. We'll probably have about one more episode before the actual day of Adepticon. And Crystal Brush has had a minor change to it, or I should say major change. They got rid of a ton of categories. They got rid of historical. They got rid of I can't remember the other one, but the one that made one commenter very, very upset is they got rid of the chibi category.
No chibi.
And because of the protest,
It sparked a firestorm of chibi aficionados.
yes, definitely chibi aficionados.
Well, one of the things that the dude brought up that one of the people brought up that was pretty valid was, I guess, the timing of them saying that it wasn't a category.
Yeah, it was like less than 4 months
Right,
out,
so
or 3
like,
months out.
So all these guys were like, we've been working on our projects like since last year already.
My chibis! I've been working at my chibis!
Right. So having, that's bad form to remove a category that close to the actual event. So those dudes, that was a very, very fair point.
So
Your events for the next year should be set in stone,
like the day after. Yeah. So last year there was science fiction single, science fiction unit, science fiction vehicle monster, fantasy single, fantasy unit, fantasy vehicle monster, historical single, large scale, chibi, diorama, and bust. This year they went down.
I like bust.
They lost 3 categories. Sci-fi single, fantasy single. They combined unit, so now it's all just one thing. Vehicles all combined. Large scale, bust, diorama, young talent. So they went with the junior category for all those really terrible models that a kid can be proud of. It's like, look at my Marnia's cool guy. It's like,
And there were some fucking young bloods at the bunker who were really good.
children.
There's a couple of them out there, man. They
Shouldn't
were really
be playing
good.
in my games.
No, they're not playing. They're painting.
Whatever.
They're dedicating their time to painting, so they'll never play.
Oh, yeah. It's like teaching a kid magic.
I'm painting well. That means you're never going to play this game. Nice Space Marine, though.
But it was the elimination of the chibi category that got people very, very upset.
My chibi dust.
Well, considering the fact that there's a couple companies that make chibi models at this point.
There's a lot of companies that are making chibi models. Like it's
Cool Mini
big.
has
It's-
Arcadia Quest.
Yep.
Soda
Pop has Super Dungeon Explorer.
and that Rail Wars and the Ninja one.
And the Ninja one. Yeah, they've got 3. They've got 3 full games with chibi minis.
Impact does all of the Dungeons and Dragons chibis, which are really nice.
And My Little Pony chibis.
But
Sorry, they exist. They exist.
they're not. Well, I guess they are chibi.
Yeah, they
and
got tiny
I know
bodies and huge heads.
Reaper does some chibi stuff. Most of their chibi stuff is animal stuff, though, like anthropomorphic.
I didn't notice that. I haven't seen chibi versions. I've seen ones that kind of look like mouse guard guys.
Well, yeah, they did. That's what I'm saying. They do a
but
lot.
they're
of,
not chibi. They're
Yep.
just mouse. They're just they're little mises with swords.
Maybe I'm thinking Dark Sword. Dark Sword is the one that does.
That could be it.
Yeah. Dark Sword and Reaper both kind of do like that anthropomorphic thing that are very similar to chibi. Cool Mini, of course, with Arcadia Quest also has Rivet Wars that people don't play Rivet Wars anymore.
No.
That was a dumb game to begin with, and I don't understand why
they kind of look like Duplo men.
It wasn't a bad concept. It's really, I guess. I mean, for me personally, I like when Cool Mini or Not does the self-contained board game that tries to get away from like the war game aspect of it.
Yeah.
So like Steve absolutely hates Zombicide.
But Black Plague looks really good.
Oh, well, yeah, but you hate, but there's like expansions to it that keeps the game fresh, but
Yep.
it still plays like a board game. It's
Right.
not a war game.
And there's shit tons of minis,
Yeah,
which you can either paint or just leave.
yeah, and what's the Rum and Bones is the other one that's the MOBA one with
Yeah.
all the pirates and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
your 2 ships boarding
Yeah.
action.
Which is it's fine though because it's a self-contained board game, and even though Rivet Wars was kind of a self-contained board game, it was more of a
They pushed it into too much of the let's battle.
Yeah.
Let's battle our mans.
it was like it's on a board, but if we just tweak the rules like this, it doesn't. No, I'm not going to play with my meeples and as a war. Oh, Steve, meeples the war game.
Perfect. Let's make it Napoleonic. There we go. We've cornered the market.
We've cornered the market. No, I guarantee you,
Napoleonic.
Steve. Yeah, you billion-dollar idea. Honestly, though, if we did like a fantasy-based meeple game, like a meeple war game, we would make money. We would.
Probably.
Yeah, people would buy that.
Yeah.
Because people love meeples.
Yeah, people are all about meeples.
Yeah. I don't get it, but they are.
I don't know. They're cute little generic playing pieces. So like I can see if your game uses meeples, getting the ones that have like look like little things is more fun. You know, like if you play I don't know, fucking I can't think of a fucking game that uses meeples right now, even though there's a million of them.
Carcassonne.
Yeah, Carcassonne. But if you have little meeples that look like a little knight or a princess and little peasants, like that's more fun than just the blocks.
I guess.
It's like there's a
Like that
Agricola
Yeah.
is like it's a farming
I
game.
love me some delicious Agricola.
Delicious aggressive soda. That game is all colored blocks. Like just blocks. So it's like this black cube is a cow. Like that game would be much more fun
with an actual little cow.
Yeah, little moo cow meeple.
A little moo cow meeple.
Yeah.
That's like that
A
company.
little piggy meeple.
That company that did all of the meeples that were all decorated on the front. Like we should do that. Like just like a box. You get a box full of meeples, and it's like this is your army.
Make it a fantasy war game.
It could probably work. I bet you we could do that.
Yeah, I mean you could even design little regiment trays that have little holes so you can slot in meeples, so you can push regiments of meeples around.
I like the idea of the Meepolionics. I think Meepolionics is the route to go.
Well, you still need regiments, so
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like I think of Meepolionics just because the pun works.
Yeah.
Nothing else. If we can't find the pun for it, I'm not going to do it.
I see.
But I'll do Meepolionics. We'll figure that one out. We'll figure it out. But anyway, yeah. So the Crystal Brush has relented and is now allowing the chibi category for Crystal
Chibi is back. Chibi's back, baby.
I think what was your quote on it? That was like, it's almost as if having your I gotta think of the quote. It's almost as if having the public judge your miniature competition is
a bad idea. Yeah.
As we've said on the past, the Crystal Brush is kind of bullshit because
They factor in public judging.
yes, that should
is
never be the
awful,
case.
Awful idea. Which means you have to paint, like, you could have, your model can be perfectly technical, like 100% technical precision, but if it doesn't pop for the, like, Joe Blow judging, it was like,
Joe the plumber,
yeah, I ain't voting for that.
the people
Which
who
is
voted
why-
for Donald Trump.
Which is why all of the minis that do well are always super splashy, custom built, like they're
And 40K.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why they're always they hit those notes because those notes are what's popular with like the common people.
Yeah, aside from the
Like a stock model painted perfectly will never win Crystal Brush.
yeah, aside from the what you mentioned, there's also the cult of personality. So the person who follows, I'm trying to think of who's.
Oh yeah, you get fans voting for people.
Yeah, who's the big? I'm trying to think of like the.
There's Jen Haley.
Yeah, she's old school though. Natalia Melnick. Is she still one of them? I don't know.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, or Jenna Zumanich, I think, or Claudia Zumanich. That's the one I'm thinking of right now. She's kind of popular, but mainly because she's like, oh, cute girl painting, and she has her own painting blog, and you know, it's like, ugh, guys. Come
Oh,
on.
is she the one who does the lots of translucent stuff?
I think so. I have one of her books that she
I
does.
thought her name was Marique. I don't know. There's one of
there's-
the
yeah.
one of the pro
There's a whole little gaggle of them.
one of the professional painting ladies. Her specialty is doing like translucent fabrics and like wet stuff.
okay, yeah.
Very very cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of great guys out there who do. Like, I love one of my favorite. I follow very few like legit painting blogs.
I follow zero.
Yeah, I mean, I'm bored at work, so I'm looking at different things. One of them I follow is this guy who goes by the name Volomir. Fantastic stuff. He always does fantasy stuff, and it's always like as close to stock as you can get. But he does like some customized work on it, and they're just gorgeous models. I love his stuff.
The last really cool minis thing that I saw was a I think it was Death Corps of Krieg maybe, or I don't know, Imperial Guards thing, and like it was dudes on horses with like guns, but the
Gun horses.
the effect was rain. Ooh. There was like rain effects on the ground, like very fucking cool looking. I was like, holy shit! Like I don't even know how you could do that.
I remember back in the day, back when I thought maybe I could win an award for painting. No,
No.
Not like legit.
No, these guys.
Crystal brush.
These guys spend a fucking year plus on these things.
on one model.
Yeah, that would drive me insane.
Yeah.
Even if I had the talent, which I don't, that's still like working on one mini that long would just break me. Like I can't. Like
I'm too much of a speed painter.
I'm too much of an army painter. Like
Yeah.
that's all I've ever done for minis is just paint lots of figures. Like that's it. Like you want to give me a crazy task like painting 300 guys? I can do that. Paint one guy? I'm out.
I want you to paint this one guy very, very nicely.
No.
Well, I had a guy who wanted me at one point to do a commission. The commission was I got to tell you about this commission I'm doing right now. But this one guy, he wanted me to do a bunch of American War for Independence models, and I was like, I guess okay, we'll try this out. I hate it because it's all you got to paint white, so much white, and I had painted it, and I thought I did a really good job. And he's like, this isn't the quality I want. I'm like, yeah, I can't paint your figures. Like I'm not doing this. No, thank you. I had just had a kid at that point too, so I was like already like, okay, I'm stressed out. I'm not going to be doing this. But the my new commission is I haven't done commissions for I probably 2 months now. It's like since my last commission, maybe 3. And I thought I'm done finally. I'm not going to do commission work anymore unless something interesting. I'll do something interesting. But I've been doing a lot of terrain work. Like I've been doing these really nice houses and ruins and stuff like that. And this one guy he messaged me on Facebook and he's just like, "Yeah, I saw your stuff. I was wondering if you'd want to do a commission for me." I'm like, "Okay, well, what are you looking for?" And he's like, I said, I'm really out of the commission game. I don't do it too much, but how much are you looking to spend? He goes, $400. I was like, okay, what do you want? What do you want? He wanted a 156th replica, or 28 millimeter replica of Rick's Cafe from Casablanca, and I was like, okay, this is just interesting enough for me to do this.
Casablanca.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna do this just because. This is interesting. If it was just like I want you to build me a house, I'll be like, nah, probably not. But this, I'm gonna do this because this sounds like it could be fun.
Are you gonna make a little Humphrey Bogart?
There is a Humphrey Bogart miniature from Casablanca.
Nice.
Artisan Designs in their Rick's Cafe pack has it. I did my research.
Nice.
But no, he wants me to do like the floor and like the interiors. He wants me to build a little bar for it. I'm like, okay, I can do that. That sounds like it could be fun.
He needs it for his Casablanca RPG.
I guess, or something. But yeah, I guess he would. But it's all open, so all the interior detail has to be done. I told him the one thing I will not do is I'm not going to build little tables and chairs. I go, you got to supply those. I'll paint them for you, but I'm not building them. I don't do that crap. But aside from that, so the other gaming news. You want to go to tabletop gaming news just to do a rundown?
Sure.
We'll hit the latest of the tabletop gaming news for the end part of the episode. We've already talked for a good chunk, so I don't feel bad. Okay. Gale Force 9 previews Daleks for Turn in Time of the Daleks.
Ugh.
The Daleks turn in Time of the Daleks.
Ugh.
Second edition rules for Relics available for free.
I don't even know what Relics is.
You don't know what Relics is?
Nope.
All right, let's check this out. It's for Tor Gaming. New edition of Relics. I don't know what this is. This looks stupid. Don't
Great.
buy it.
Take that. Take that, Tor Gaming.
WizKids previews Bioship Alpha for Attack Wing. I'm assuming it is a Star Trek ship.
Yeah. Well, WizKids has Star Trek and Fantasy Flight has Star Wars.
Yes. But what's a Bioship?
Isn't that
It's the Borg. It's the Bioship Alpha. It's a powerhouse of a ship that rivals even the most powerful of the Borg.
Isn't that the one from the Liquid Dimension?
Yeah, it might be like that species
7472 or whatever.
Yeah, whatever that stupid thing.
Fuck. They were just a number.
Yeah, it's Voyager, so I don't care.
They were cool.
Asmodee releases.
That one looked like Bigby.
Asmodee releases Braintopia Party Game. I'm assuming that this is like what was that stupid not brain candy?
Gooey Louie, where you pull out his boogers and one of them pops his brain out of his head. Nah, that's a fucking sweet
Don't
game.
Wake Daddy, the game of child abuse.
I want to play some competitive Gooey Louie. Oh, dude, I can't come. I gotta go to a Gooey Louie tournament.
I got a Gooey Louie tournament. No, what was that? Cranium was that dumb game?
That was a trivia game.
Yeah. A game of mental focus, flexibility, and speed is now available at your local retailer. Tactile challenge or claiming a pair of cards. Yeah, this is Cranium. This is exactly what Cranium is. Elder Sign Omens of the Deep is now available.
Elder Sign's a solid game.
WizKids previews Pulp Deadpool for HeroClix. So just another...
I was surprised that HeroClix still exists.
I'm not. It's cheap and it's easy, and they're just repainting figures at this point.
Right, which is why I'm
How
surprised
else
it
are we
still
going to keep
exists.
the economy of Sri Lanka alive?
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, at this point. New Conflict 47 release is available from Warlord Games.
That's Conflict with a K.
That's Conflict. I hate Conflict 47. I will say it on every goddamn podcast there is. Conflict 47 is a stupid concept for a stupid game.
Take that, Conflict 47.
No, take that, Clockwork Goblin. I just hate games where they're like, we have this model, let's make rules for
Hey,
it.
you know how I feel about the alternate history games. They're the worst.
Well, that episode got deleted.
I know. Oh, that's true. Our feelings in the alternate history games will remain a mystery.
Oh, no, it's not a mystery
Here's
because
the answer. I hate them.
most of the time I hate them as well. It's I like consistency. All I like is I like it to be well thought out. Conflict 47 is not well thought out. It is like, hey, let's just put a bunch of walkers in World War II and see where it goes. They did that. It was called Dust. It was sucked. And then it's going to suck now when you put it in 28 millimeters as well. And one of the first thing that really upset me about Conflict 47 is when I got the rulebook for it to go through it, the model that came with it was 1/35 scale. And I got so mad because I was just like, Jesus Christ, you idiots. Ugh. And
The only true scale is 75 millimeter.
75. I like 72 millimeter. No, 1/72 scale. That way I could play my Confident Group Confident Group Germany games. New Imperial Fist Terminators from Forge World. I'm surprised they're still doing crap for Forge World.
No way, dude. That shit is fucking.
I know, but they
infinite sales.
But they haven't folded it into actual GW at this point.
I don't think they ever will.
No.
No, I think they like that brand distinction.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. Was there something new that happened with Workshop?
There's a bunch of new Hobbit minis from Forge World.
Yeah, but aside from
There's
that,
the new Age of Sigmar app update.
oh, yeah, it's an app.
That's going to be the big. Well, I mean, it's pretty.
Yeah, but
impressive.
how is it going to be like? What's changed with it?
The
Is it just interface?
It's
that
a
changed?
complete overhaul from what I read, and it's
hopefully easier to read because
right.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be easier to read, easier to use. Like rather than being like a. They really are redesigning it to be like a tabletop companion, like something
good.
you can use next to it. There's gonna be a full army builder. There's gonna be a optional subscription service, which is like $1 a month or something, and that gets you all of the books,
Oh,
like
that's nice.
everything. So you don't
For
have to-
99 cents a month, that ain't too bad if you
yeah,
switch it
and I
every
don't
other-
even know if it's that high, but yeah. So that's the big thing with Age of Sigmar right now.
Okay, and also that the new Slambo.
Slambo. His thighs are so thick.
You love it.
I do love
Thick
it. I think it-
with just the C.
Yeah, with 3 C's.
3 C's.
Yeah, he's got 3 C's.
Oh, three C's worth of thighs.
Yeah, I
That's
think that-
really hard to say, by the way. 3 C's worth of thighs.
Yeah. It's like one smart fella. He felt smart.
Yeah.
That's a hard one to say fast.
You know what?
I liked Slambo. I think that model's cool.
I think it's cool too. I'm not arguing. It's expensive for a stupid model, but I just put the phone down because we forgot the one major thing: the new army for Warmahormalifaux.
Oh my god, what a fucking shit show. I couldn't believe when I saw that. That was
How come we didn't lead off? I totally forgot about it, and I'm glad we're catching this at the end of this.
The best thing about it is Malifaux started arguably
Tip
as a
of the
ripoff.
top hat to you, sir.
Arguably as a ripoff of Privateer. The rules were definitely a ripoff.
Yes.
And now Privateer it's come full circle, they're like, we've made a Malifaux faction.
It's like when when a guy's got another guy's face in his ass, and then he's got a third guy's face in his ass, and it just kind of goes around until you get a big
The
circle.
human centipede?
Like a human centipede. Yeah. I don't necessarily want to go with that, but yeah, it's like a human centipede that's eventually connected into a big circle. That's what that has become. Holy shit! And I know they were talking about like, oh, there's gonna be a new faction for what is it, Hordes? I think it is.
Yeah, it's Hordes.
Yeah, there's gonna be a new faction for Hordes. A new faction for okay. Let's see what they do. And it's Malifaux.
Yeah.
100% Malifaux.
There's even like the weird looking pig dudes riding on the backs of little guys. There's the Dreamer, who's a character from fucking Malifaux. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Very bold.
Isn't there like a Mr. Chompy Bits or something like that?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I
remember reading
I couldn't
something
really
about that,
see
yeah.
the video through my tears of laughter.
Because it's so bad. You're just like, what in the hell are they doing?
Yeah, what a shit show.
I don't know. Definitely Privateer has shit the bed. Probably for... This is like the third shitting of the bed that they've had in recent memory.
Yeah.
Ever since the new edition, kind of... That was the big one that kind of...
That was the tip of the diarrhea spray.
Yeah, then there was like... Then they fucked it up again.
They did the reboot that basically invalidated hundreds of cards.
Then now this is like their new army
Yeah.
that they're debuting for
fucking
this.
bad.
It's like, oh, oof. This game is doomed.
Yeah, I mean, and it's going to be another incomplete faction, just like the Convergence of Cyrus. So, like, there's going to be some people who buy it, play it a few times, realize the army's not finished and it's garbage, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not on the good thing, but it's the complete absconding of the Malifaux that makes it funny.
Oh yeah, there's like it looks straight out of fucking Weird Miniatures.
I don't know why that Weird Miniatures just didn't offer to sell Weird Miniatures to Privateer so that they could incorporate it into the game.
Yeah.
So all the people who played Weird Miniatures could just take it over to Privateer and be fine with
Well,
it.
I don't think there's a lot of people who play Weird anymore.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like Malifaux should have just been like, we're done. Let's sell this IP and then we can just make off with our money, with our
Scamper away.
with our big dollar sign bags
Or the
and-
novelty check.
with the big novelty check and be done with it. No, it's Malifaux, so it's got to be a big sack that's got a dollar sign on it.
Very good.
Or the pound sign, the libs, so they could run off with it and with their cowboy hats and monocles or goggles or whatever it is. The goggles.
The brass goggles.
They do nothing. But they didn't, and now Privateer is like, you know what's doing really well right now? Malifaux. Let's just use that for our thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
God.
bad.
Hey Steve, I got an idea. Let's pretend to be the Privateer Press boardroom coming up with this idea for this army. So guys, our sales are down. We've shit the bed twice in the last year. What can we do to increase sales? Go.
Fix the rules and make it a little bit more of a competitive game and admit that we kind of rushed the third edition.
No. Give me another idea.
Well, what we could do is we could finish up the releases for the Gatormen and the miners, and we could actually create full-fleshed armies for them. Yeah, completing all of the armies that we have is a good idea.
No. Give me another one.
Do something really stupid.
I like you. You're promoted.
Great, let's make a Malifaux army.
Malifaux. God. Anyway, that's about it for today. Go to planarbitrary.com for all your Planet Arbitrary needs. You can follow me on Twitter at Planet Arbitrary. You can follow Steve at
Play on Steve.
like our Facebook page, /Game Classy Podcast, where Steve will show you pictures of his genitals.
They got taken down by Facebook. They were flagged as inappropriate content.
Well, yeah, they're pretty inappropriate in most sense. You could the best way you can help out the podcast is like, comment, subscribe on iTunes. You could also like, comment, subscribe on the YouTubes. Listen to our sister podcasts. You have the Comic Book Logic podcast that comes out every other week, opposite of this podcast, which is all about the comic book movies reviewed and told whether or not they are actually decent movies. Next week we will be doing Logan, the movie about old Wolverine.
Old Man Logan.
No, not Old Man Logan, just Logan. Like Rambo or
Slambo?
John Slambo. Hey, yo, I'm
Perfect.
I'm a chaos knight. I got myself some thick thighs and I got myself a hybrid. You can also listen to Play On podcast, which is all about the video games. What are you guys talking about lately, Steve?
I don't remember. We just did it yesterday. I don't remember what we talked about.
Nintendo. I bet you it's about
There was a
Nintendo.
little bit, but not too much.
Is that Zelda game out yet?
Soon.
Soon. Did you pre-order your Switch?
No. I actually have the Zelda game prepaid for on the Wii U, so I'm just gonna play it on the Wii U.
But you're not getting a Switch?
I'll get one eventually, but there's not enough launch titles that I really, really want to like make me want to run out and buy one right away. Because I would need to like fight to get one right now.
Did Pat
I don't
order?
wanna do that?
This Pat pre-ordered for
I
the
don't
Switch?
think he is. I think he missed out.
Poor Pat.
Kyle did.
Kyle did. All right. And then you could also listen to Weebtown, which will eventually have a second episode.
A third episode.
Oh, you guys got a third
yeah,
episode.
Yeah, there's a third episode coming.
Oh, that's all about all things.
And it remains a Podbean exclusive.
All things Tokionic. That's a word, right?
Sure.
Tokionic.
Sure.
Tokyoan, or Kyoton,
Kyoto, Japan.
Kyotoan. All right, so Steve, until next time.
The leader of this unit is a Vargoyle. A Vargoyle makes 4 attacks instead of 3.
Game classy.